Aloha and good evening, everybody. On this pleasant Friday night from Lehi, Utah, welcome to the Rewind Sports Network and our coverage of Skyridge basketball presented by Heidemann & Associates. Tonight, it's a night like no other here in Lehi as crosstown rivals meet for the very first time. The Lehi Pioneers and the Skyridge Falcons ready to do battle for the first time ever. With my broadcast partner, Tyler Gibb, joining me, Alexander Timalip, here with you at Skyridge High School here in Lehi. Tyler, I turn to you. The first thing I say is the atmosphere here is unlike anything we've ever seen, I think, in our time being together as broadcast partners.
Yeah, there's a few games every year, and even maybe not even that you get an atmosphere where it's just special, and you're going to remember that no matter what happens in the game. You just remember the energy and the excitement in the building, and that's what we have tonight. I mean, driving in, it's like the field of dreams. You know, you couldn't find a parking spot. The road is packed. So just a great environment and atmosphere for what should be a great game. So,
Tyler, both of these teams come in on very different notes. Lehi had to use a big surge against Westlake Tuesday. Skyridge led late but couldn't hold on against Lone Peak. What intrigues you the most about this matchup between these two squads here tonight?
Well, Skyridge comes in, if you look at records and RPI rankings, you would think that Lehi should be a team that maybe would blow Skyridge team out, but Skyridge, they're 6-9, but 8 of their 9 losses have been by single digits, and the other one was by 12 points. So this is a team that has been in every game, and as Coach Gardner said, talking to him before the game, they feel more like a 9-6 team. They just had a few games get away from them late, and Lehi obviously very talented, led by Cooper Lewis. So despite the records looking a lot different, it's two teams that are very competitive.
So let's get to the Heidemann Associates keys to the game, presented by Heidemann Associates, the full-service law firm, fully committed to winning for you, the client. Tyler, take us through what each team needs to do.
Looking at Skyridge, obviously Cooper Lewis has had a combined 84 points in his last 2 games, which is absurd at the high school level when you think about 32 minutes. So you have your hands full guarding them, but what they need to do is just defend with discipline. It sounds like they're just going to come out and guard Cooper one-on-one to start the game, and then if they need to adjust from there is what Coach Gardner has alluded to. But whatever it is, stick with your game plan. Don't overhelp and come off of your assignment. And for Lehi, as we just talked about, you've got to respect the Skyridge team. You know, the emotions are high, but come out and treat this team how they should, which is a very good basketball team, and make sure that you're sharp from the get-go.
It's going to be a special night here in Lehi. These two squads meeting for the first time ever in any sport this year as realignment took place. Jordan Kohler and Gabe Cowan set to jump. And Kohler's the one who takes the jump around her way. Kohler matched up against Cowan, gives it over now to Housley. Housley lob on the block to Kohler. Power dribble up for the bucket, that doesn't go. Fights for his rebound, can't get it, and the rebound comes down to Easton Hawkins. Cooper Lewis, his first shot of the game. That rims out. Got a fight for the rebound. It comes down to Ethan Kagan. Housley gets it poke checked away. Comes back out front now to Kohler. Now over to Jackson Mosteller, who gets the start tonight. In place of Ryder Gentry, who started on Tuesday against LP. On the drive, nice pass. And the first bucket of the game goes to Ethan Kagan, and a great pass.
In a game like this, start out by getting easy buckets, and that happens with a great backdoor cut.
Brousseau in the post now, matched up against Kohler. Turns, puts up the hook shot, it goes. Nice move by Grayson Brousseau. Brousseau, the Utah State commit for football, but playing his last season of basketball here for head coach Quincy Lewis, who's in his 5th year at the helm of Lehi. Dane Housley can't hit that three. Gagan trying to get that rebound, but it's captured there on the baseline, and up coming Cowan. And now out front, here's Hawkins. Bryson Bromley, the point out front, gives it over to Lewis. Cowan got a mismatch on the smaller Tate Larson puts up the shot, it goes.
That's a great shot by Hawkins. If you're Skyridge, you'll live with them making that shot. That's tight defense. It just shows the shot-making ability of this Lehi team.
Housley almost kicked that thing into the backcourt, but Gagan's able to get there to save him. And Housley will come to get his dribble back. Kohler matched up against Cowan in the low block. Turns, puts a shoulder in, puts up the tough shot, it falls. Kohler, who had a near double-double on Tuesday against LP. And he's off the board early here, and it's Gagan who has the task of defending Cooper Lewis. Rousseau, nice spin move in the high post. Spins off the rim, though, and the rebound by Mosteller. Here comes Housley. Housley drives. Yeah, we have a foul. There'll be a blocking foul on Grayson Brousseau.
It's the type of start you'd expect in a game like this, fast pace. That's the first whistle, 3 minutes into the game. But you see Skyridge has come out in a tough man-to-man. That's what Coach Gardner's elected to do to try to defend Cooper Lewis and the Pioneers. And yeah, Gagan has drawn that assignment. So a good job, firm defense. Lehi's made some tough shots.
And that's the kind of thing that Coach Quincy Lewis was talking to me about before the game, right, Tyler? He was talking about how the defense, Jeff Gardner's defenses can come at you from all angles, and example A of that was definitely on those first couple of possessions.
Yeah, that's what makes them, well, you have to try to get them uncomfortable. And so if you come at multiple angles, bring different looks, and in tough man-to-man, you just have to be careful not to over-help and overbite on certain passes and driving lanes.
New shot clock off the possession. Stedler gets it over now to Housley. Into the post goes Kohler. Kohler goes to work on Brousseau. Tough turnaround shot, left it short. Flying in for the rebound, Noah's Gagan. Larson for three. First triple of the ball game belongs to Tate Larson, and the Falcons go back in front. And it comes off that offensive rebound. They have an early 7-4 lead. And a bump out front given by Gagan there on Cooper Lewis. Pioneer ball on the side here. 4:40 to go, just underway here in what's expected to be a special night here in Lehi. Lewis loses the screener, puts up the shot, rolls in. He who had 47 last Friday against AF and 37 on Tuesday, there's his first basket.
You're not able to score at that high of a rate without being able to make off-balance, tough looks, just as that shot was.
Larson hits another three. His second one in almost a minute. He's 2 for 2, and the Falcons have a 4-point lead. And we're going to have a stoppage here as the clock is off balance again. We're going to reset to 31 on the shot clock. Game clock is correct at 4:07.
If you want to help your team get settled into a game like this and calm the nerves a little bit, Tate Larson is showing exactly how. Knock down a couple of shots and get the team settled in a quick lead.
Here's Bryson Bromley out front. Lewis. Step back, tough off balance shot. That doesn't go. Fight for the rebound, and a loose ball foul called against Brousseau. And that's 2 quick fouls against Grayson Brousseau. And that could be a big deal there for Lehi, having one of their top rebounders on the bench of foul trouble. As Cy Hansen, the Skyridge transfer, by the way, checks into the ball game. Housley spins, kicks it out. Gagan, foot was on the line. They mark it as a three. It doesn't matter. 3 in a row. And Skyridge has a 7-point lead.
They ruled it a three. It did look like his toe was on the line. We'll see if there's any discussion on that shot later.
Yeah, it did look like from our angle, at least, the foot was on the line. Here's Cowan driving, kicks it out. Wide open look there, and Hawkins can't get that. Great tip up, and the rebound is grabbed by Jackson Kohler. And you hear the boos Cy Hansen is getting. Again, the Skyridge transferred across town to a different school. That is why you are hearing the boos every time 24 touches the ball. Kohler in the low block against Cowan. Backs him down, 10 on the shot clock. Tough turnaround shot off the back heel, and the rebound is captured there by Hawkins. Hawkins racing up the floor. Hansen puts up the three. That doesn't go. Mustiller the rebound. And out racing with it, here comes Housley. Housley trying to house it, goes strong and foul. And he will go to the line.
Coach Gardner, before the game, when talking about defending this Lehi team, said you're not going to be able to take away everything. You just need to make them take tough shots. And so far, Skyridge is doing just that. Lehi, they're 3 baskets. 2 of them were on tough. Hawkins hit a fadeaway. Lewis hit a leaner. So they're forcing them to take tough shots. Lehi, they have playmakers, they have shooters. Just have to continue to be patient. But Skyridge coming out and doing what Coach Gardner had hoped.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we were looking at coming into the game, right, Tyler, is as a foul is called out front, how this Skyridge team reacts to this long, athletic Lehi team. And remember how, and you brought it up, how Jeff Gardner said, if you make tough shots, we'll live with it. But so far, they're doing their job as far as it sounds on the defensive end.
Yeah, Lehi's proven that there's no formula to really stop them. You just have to try to slow them down. If they're going to shut down Cooper Lewis, there's other guys that are able to step up. So you just have to make it tough for everybody.
Boy, that was a tough shot right there by Cowan. Able to bank it in over the top of Tate Larson. And Lehi has their first bucket in almost 2.5 minutes. Housley back to Ryder Gentry, who just checked in. Kohler almost fumbled it. Housley, though, gets it back. Ten on the shot clock here for Larson. Back it comes to Housley. 9 on the shot clock in the corner. Gentry wide open. Bingo! And an early 10-point lead here for Skyridge. Hansen out front, pass deflected. Housley got his hand on it. Here's Lewis. Lewis puts up the three. That's off the rim, no good. And a foul called on the rebound. That's the other thing, Tyler, that we're going to be watching all night long is how well Lehi and Skyridge rebound, because Lehi is a very good rebounding team, as we talked with Jeff Gardner earlier tonight.
Skyridge has done a good job so far. They got the Larson 3 on an offensive rebound kick out. They've got Rousseau in foul trouble, crashing the glass. And there's another foul on the rebound. And they both go up for it. You like the hustle. Those are the fouls that ideally you'll live with. Rousseau got his second on a call similar to that. You don't want to pick up a second foul 94 feet from your own basket, but you see Skyridge they have a lot of bodies. They're not leaking out early to go try to get fast break points. They're making sure that they grab the rebound.
And we've seen that's the product, right, Tyler, of Jeff Gardner, this team so far. Every time they've gotten the rebound, they are running the ball. Jace John checked in at that last timeout for Lehi. We'll give you the other substitutions here in a second. Under a minute to go here in the first quarter. Skyridge by 10. Kohler able to turn, gets to the basket, count it, and one. Great position there in the low block, and Kohler's gonna have a chance for one more.
Kohler has been as active as anybody in this first quarter. You can see his energy that he's playing with, and inside being that big presence. And you see Lehi, they have a great offense, but their defense is outstanding as well. They play a tough man-to-man, and that time just reaching in a passing lane a little too soon, gives the lane to Kohler. Again, the rebounding. But a good job by Skyridge executing in the half-court offense.
Great offensive rebound there by Ryder Gentry. And now Davis Fyans, who checked in, has the ball out front against Jace John. Fyans will retake it again, 19 on the shot clock. Cohen Fountain also checked in at that last stoppage. Fyans drives, kicks it, tipped out of bounds. Where's it going? It'll stay here. .3 seconds left in the first quarter. 6 on the shot clock. Housley back in along with Kohler. Mo Stetler back in as well. The two Mo Stetlers on the floor, Carson and Jordan, on the floor right now. As Kohler getting tangled up down there in the post. Housley got it ripped. Lewis trying to lead the pack. Gets it out in front and lays it in. A much-needed basket. Housley throws up the half quarter. It's off the mark. And that will do it for the first quarter. And so Skyridge, off a hot start from behind the arc, has the early lead here against their crosstown rivals. They lead 20-10 at the end of 8 minutes. Back after this word from Igloo Outfitters on the Rewind Sports Network. Welcome back, everyone, to Skyridge basketball, presented by Heidemann and Associates on the Rewind Sports Network. Alexander Tumulip alongside Tyler Gibb, ready to start quarter number 2 here at Skyridge High School. Tyler, what stood out to you the most from that first quarter?
Just the overall execution from the Falcons was big on both ends. On offense, they were patient, they cut. When you have a team that likes to pressure up and overplay like Lehi, you need to cut to get those lanes. And then on defense, they've stuck to their assignments and made Lehi hit tough shots, which they've made some, but that's probably as well as anybody's defended Lehi in a quarter all year. Lehi, that was a big basket to get an easy 2 to end the quarter and ride a little bit of that momentum. But they're a team that can score in a hurry, so you just have to stick to it if you're the Pioneers.
And Cooper Lewis only 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting in that first quarter. Here's Hawkins driving, kicks it back. Back to Hawkins. Drives down into the post. Tough turnaround shot, left that short. Mo Stetler the rebound. And he leaves it behind for his point guard, Housley. Larson coming up from down deep, gets the screen. That pass deflected and stolen by Watkins. And Hawkins is fouled as he crosses the timeline to try and stop the fast break. And Tyler, that's what Lehi can do. As soon as they get a turnover, Quincy Lewis's teams can run on you in a hurry.
Yeah, if you're not getting layups in the half-court offense, turn your defense into offense. And the easiest shot they got in the quarter, they really only got one great layup look, and that was the final possession of the first quarter on a transition takeaway. There again, they get it in a good foul by Skyridge. You see the take foul now in the NBA, but they don't have that in high school. So if they've got an easy fast break like that, a good foul, but Lehi can look to get that transition going, find a rhythm offensively.
Cowan going right on Mo Stetler in the heart of the zone. That shot off the mark, and the rebound is captured by Kohler. Kagan leaves it behind there for Housley. Caleb Moore, the 6'4 seniors in the ballgame, number 32, inside out. Gagan for 3. The hot shooting continues. Moore trying to answer back and does. That's the first three-pointer of the game for Lehi.
Lehi in a 1-3-1 zone to start the second quarter.
Cross-court swing, Larson, he'll try another 3, and he knocks it down. That's his third one already. He's 3 for 3. Hawkins now out front. Bromley coming in now. There's Cowan on the dribble handoff. Here is Lewis. Tough shot. Again off the mark. Rebound, captured, and a foul. Cooper Lewis, 1 of 6 now from the field, Tyler, through the first quarter and 2 minutes.
He hasn't had any easy shots other than the fast break layup. And so that, a guy like Cooper, the basket gets bigger as the game goes, as you're making shots. So if you can limit him to begin the game, it's going to be tough for him to find a rhythm.
Larson, little heat check there for 3. Kohler trying to put it back up and in while he was falling down. And now we got a foul behind the play here, and it's an offensive foul, in fact, called on Moore. So I guess the official didn't like that little bump that he gave, that Caleb Moore gave Kohler, and we're going the other way. There's Housley again. In the post, Kohler wide open underneath. Timeout, Quincy Lewis.
And timeout called by the Pioneers. T-shirts being called out by
Back here at Skyridge High School, Alexander Tumup alongside Tyler Gibb. 5:20 to go here in the first half. It has been the story of the 3 for Skyridge. They lead by 15 and limiting Cooper Lewis to just 1 of 6 from the field on 4 shots, or 2 of 6 rather from the field, and 4 points. Here's Grayson Brousseau back in with the 2 fouls, back to Bromley. Brousseau gonna try to back down Kohler. Goes to the right shoulder, goes through, and a foul.
And this is a time for Lehi where you get to learn a lot about your team. It's not a situation that Lehi has been in a whole lot, but you get these games, in region play where you're trailing. It's a tough road environment, and so you get to learn a lot about your team and how they'll respond to a hot start from Skyridge.
Well, Grayson Brousseau doing exactly that, attacking the rim with authority, but a foul. So he draws a couple of quick fouls, and Grayson Brousseau will head to the free throw line.
You see the presence that Brousseau is inside. He had the first basket of the game to start things for Lehi, but then had to get taken out pretty early in the first quarter. But his presence inside, back-to-back post moves, he draws a foul on Skyridge.
And right now, with him in foul trouble, Tyler, Lehi really needs that second option as he hits the second. They need Cy Hansen, and they also need Caleb Moore to step in, because with Brousseau in foul trouble, it's going to be their turn here pretty quickly if he picks up his third. Housley, nice crossover, gets to the basket and scores. Left somebody in his wake. And the man who Jeff Gardner called an absolute gamer has his first basket. That pass stolen away. Housley coming up the floor in transition. And good transition defense there by Lehi, forcing Skyridge to back out. In the high post, Mosteller gets it back. Housley, 15 on the shot clock. Splits the defense, kicks it out. Gentry for 3. Cha-ching!
That was an amazing look from Housley. He turned the corner on the right wing, and as soon as he turned, he took one dribble and found Gentry wide open in the corner.
Cooper Lewis leaves that one short. Hawkins the floater, that goes. Hawkins, who had 19 on Tuesday against Westlake, gets his second basket of the game. Mosteller, nice backdoor cut. Housley had it blocked though, and a foul. Boy, what great effort there from Brayson Bromley to come right across the lane and swat that out of midair, or that was rather Cowan, excuse me, who did that. 3:29 left to go, first half. Romney out front here against Larson. Hawkins pull up from 13. He's got 6, and he's starting to heat up. On the weave, here's Larson giving it back over to Housley. Housley turns the corner, floater off the glass! Right over the top of the 6'6" Brousseau. And Dane Housley now starting to get it going here late in this first half. Brousseau trying to answer back with a 3, left it short, and Gentry gets the rebound. Housley, crossover, floater in the paint, gets the friendly roll. He scored on 3 of the last 4 possessions for Skyridge.
These last couple of possessions have been very impressive from Housley. His poise, his patience, and just letting the game come to him. Some of these ball fakes that he's putting on and being able to get it over taller defenders.
Foul on the rebound. Hawkins misses that one. That's the 5th team foul on the Falcons, and so that's going to put Lehi in the bonus for the rest of the first half.
There's been a couple big hustle plays from Lehi these last couple of possessions as well to keep them, I know it's 19, but for Lehi that's something that they're capable of, but their last couple buckets had the offensive rebound, they gave them the extra basket, and then the block on the other end coming from the weak side. So those things add up when you're trying to mount this comeback, those extra possessions or those layups saved at the other end.
Cowan goes 2 for 2. And that could be a telling sign, Tyler, of what Quincy Lewis is learning about his team here early on with this deficit of just how much they're hustling early on, especially with a young team as Larson hits another 3. Unreal. He still has not missed a 3. Lewis trying to answer back, can't do so. Bo Stetler gonna let it go out of bounds. Back it goes to Skyridge.
Credit to Skyridge and Coach Gardner, their offensive execution. With these looks that they're getting, Lehi is a great defensive team, but Skyridge is managing to get open looks, and they're knocking them down. They're shooting an incredible rate from behind the three-point line.
Gentry back to Fyans. Fyans attacks, kicks it inside. Mosteller goes up and scores. What a great job breaking down the zone. And the lead just continues to souffle here. It's now a 22-point game. Cowan, no. Mosteller flying in for the rebound. 1 minute left here in the first half. Lehi still in that 1-3-1 zone. Across the lane, here comes Larson. Larson, easy pull-up, got it! He hits him inside and he hits him outside. Had a foul on the push. With 32 seconds even left here in the first half.
Number 24, Jackson Mosteller. Charged with the foul.
Tyler, how do you even begin to explain the shooting ability of Skyridge here in this first half?
I mean, Tate Larson started it out by hitting 2 threes on the first couple of possessions for Skyridge, and the whole team followed suit. Everybody has knocked down their open looks, and they have had a lot of good looks. It's a tough Lehi defense, but Skyridge is creating looks on offense, and some of the passing against the zone, the drive and kick, and the cutting, it's been everybody working together. It's not just one guy.
And they'll have the last say here in the first half. You said it, Tyler. They have just done a masterful job breaking down this tough Lehi defense here in this first half, Skyridge has. But there's a steal for Cowan, and Cowan will go up and dunk it. Still a chance here for Skyridge with 6. That pass is deflected and intercepted by Hansen. Maybe a chance here to get one shot off. Lewis, it'll count if it goes! Almost. And that's the end of the first half. But Tyler, I turn to you and I say, I did not see any semblance of this coming in the first half.
I think it's time that we can all just look at this Skyridge team and say they're a lot better than their record shows. A team that comes out and plays like that against this Lehi team, that's an incredible display of offense, defense, all-around team basketball from Skyridge. But we know what Lehi is capable of. Don't count them out. With Quincy Lewis a halftime to adjust, we'll see what's in store for the second half.
It's a 22-point Skyridge lead. Here at the break, the Rewind Sports Network's coverage of Skyridge basketball tonight, presented by Heidemann & Associates, the full-service law firm fully committed to winning for you, the client, and also presented by Igloo Outfitters, the coziest wearable sleeping bag that has you covered for all seasons. Visit them online at igloooutfitters.com, and get 20% off your order when you enter the promo code REWIND. The first half is done. And folks, if you don't believe it, this is your score. The Skyridge Falcons 44, Lehi 22. We'll be back for the second half on the Rewind Sports Network after this. Sports Network's coverage of high school basketball presented by Heidemann & Associates and by Igloo Outfitters. Skyridge basketball continues here with the Falcons leading by 22 here at the half. With Tyler Gibb beside me, Alexander Timlip here with you at Skyridge. So Tyler, one's got to wonder, what do you think Quincy Lewis might have said to the boys at halftime for Lehi?
It probably started on the defensive end, allowing 44 points in the first half. Part of it is the fact that Skyridge shot the lights out. They played a near perfect half offensively, but a lot of those looks were open. Just as Skyridge did to Lehi, they defended from the beginning and it threw them off rhythm. You have to find a way to throw Skyridge off rhythm and get active defensively without over-helping or reaching and giving up easy looks.
So on the other side for Skyridge, you know, you could talk about a hot shooting first half, but Tyler, you've got to wonder, even if they don't get consistent open looks like they did the first half, is it sustainable to continue this hot shooting?
I don't know that they could play this half without a defense and still shoot as good as they did in the first half. I mean, they probably shot better in the first half than in warm-ups. I didn't watch the warm-ups that closely, but they shot amazing in that first half. So expect that number to drop a little bit as far as the shooting numbers, but you can still execute at the same rate. Lehi's going to come out and play as desperate as ever in this second half. They've got nothing to lose. So just stick to the game plan and the half-court execution, and the shots may not fall at the same rate, but you can still get similar looks.
Yeah, remember, Tyler, they had a 27-point fourth quarter, a point difference of plus 13 that got them across the finish line on Tuesday against Westlake. So it is possible as the Falcons will start the second half with the ball, same 5 on the floor. Larson all the way.
They're not going to miss many of those. The execution, they're perfect, but if they're getting those looks, their shooting rate is only going to go up.
Brousseau kicks a cross-court. Bromley, nice pass to Cowan. Got a one-on-one mismatch. But let the hook short. And the rebound by Housley. And they can run. Housley back to Larson. Back it goes to Housley. In the post, pass tipped and stolen. Here comes Hawkins. Hawkins all the way in.
Lehi has dropped back into a man-to-man. We saw him come out in the 1-3-1 zone in the second quarter, but if you want to get a team to come out of a zone, you shoot it like Skyridge. So Quincy Lewis electing to go back to the man.
The deflection there as that one comes near Mosteller on the sideline. Now back to Housley, 18 on the shot clock. Housley takes a bump in the corner. Mosteller drives, floats it, and a foul. Passing up a good look to get a great look right there was Jackson Mosteller. He'll go to the line. All called on Bromley, his first. And it will put the senior Mosteller at the line.
And when you shoot well, that's what happens is Lehi will close out quicker. They'll close out with a little more pace, and you can give the pump fake and then go by to get the looks inside. So good job to not settle for the three, although they've been knocking a lot of them down, but continue to push the ball inside to the paint.
And maybe that's and Tyler, I'm talking to you right now, like maybe that's the thing that Skyridge has to do more of in the second half, because they know that Lehi is going to come out and close with every opportunity they get. That might be a good idea for them to go after the rim, as Brousseau can't lay that one in. And it's rebounded by Kohler, who himself has had an excellent night cleaning the glass. Gagan comes around the screen, gets it over to Housley. Olsen into the block. Kohler double teamed. And a foul. And we'll see who they call it on. It's going to be on Caleb Moore, his second. Falcon ball underneath with a new 35. Housley. Back it comes over to Gagan, now over to Larson. Mosteller closed out pretty well there. Nice backdoor cut, though. And the right idea, though, that pass, though, went right through the hands of Kohler.
It's good help defense. You see what Skyridge has done all night is with those overplays on the passing lanes, they cut back door. That time there was a help defender that caused a little bit of chaos inside. But Skyridge, you can see the effectiveness of their ability to cut on this tough man-to-man.
Lewis loses the handle. And here comes Mosteller out in front by himself. Moore running up the floor with it. Brousseau, and a push called on Kohler. And Ethan Gagan has done an excellent job defending Cooper Lewis tonight, Tyler. He has just not looked comfortable every time number 5 has been on him.
Just about everything they've done on Cooper Lewis and this offense has worked. They've done a great job to just make it difficult and force those tough looks.
Tipped out of bounds, it'll stay here. And once again, Gagan on Lewis. Lewis, pull up three, got it! Maybe that'll get him going, his first 3 of the ball game. He did not score in that second quarter, Tyler, you pointed out. Yeah, or as we forgot to point out, rather. And that's his first basket, he's got 7.
He averaged 42 a game over his last 2, and they held him to 4 points in the first half. So you have to imagine hitting a shot like that will help to get a rhythm going. He hadn't made a jump shot since early in the first quarter. So that's got to establish some sort of rhythm, you would think, but you've got to find a way when you're down 23 to get easier looks.
Yeah, a lot of his shots for Cooper Lewis have been from beyond the arc or very tough contested jumpers. Housley, nice hesitation, but a hand check is called, and that's already the 4th team foul on Lehi, and so that will put Skyridge in the bonus on the next foul. Foul called on Easton Hawkins, his first. Larson, pretty well defended there by Bromley. Housley fakes, kicks it back. Mosteller had to go through his hands, fight for it on the floor. Housley comes out of the pile with it. 10 on the shot clock. Housley against Brousseau has the mismatch. Little floater, that doesn't go. Mosteller, the offensive rebound, can't put it back. And the rebound is captured by Hawkins. Here comes Lewis. Pull up for 3. Bingo! 2 in a row. And sensing the momentum shift, Jeff Gardner says, not so fast. Halfway through the third quarter. As we remind you, KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of Skyridge basketball is presented by Heidemann and Associates, by Igloo Outfitters, and it's also presented all season long by the good folks at Legacy Power, and also by Mountain Land Truck Outfitters. Alexander Timolip, Tyler Gibb here at Skyridge High School. Well, Tyler, we just said it. Maybe that three-pointer will get Cooper Lewis going. He's already now got 13 points. He now all of a sudden, just in the blink of an eye, has 10 points.
Yeah, and those are shots that we weren't seeing him make in the first half. So you have halftime to get your legs under you, get some shots up, and try to find a rhythm. And if you're trying to come back from the 25 points, is there anybody in the state that you'd rather have than Cooper Lewis? It's hard to make the argument. And so you see how quick he can catch a rhythm and get you back into a game. It's still 20, but shots like that, and it could be back in this in a blink of an eye.
And Tyler, now Lehi going into a 2-3 zone here. Now they switched it back up and went man-to-man. Kohler takes a bump, turns it over. Russo. Here's Hawkins out in front, puts on the top shot, count it, and the contact! Just like that, 8 consecutive points. And the Lehi Pioneers starting to feel the pulse. Easton Hawkins heads to the line to try to complete the old-fashioned three-point play, and he does. And it is all of a sudden a 17-point game. This is the closest Lehi has been virtually all night. Larson, flyby, three-pointer, cha-ching! He can't miss! Tay Larson with his 5th three-pointer.
We saw him settle them down to start the game, and now when Lehi makes a run, he settles them down again. But just like that, Cooper Lewis answers back. And, you know, Skyridge, you have to sleep it. You can feel the momentum that Lehi is picking up, even though it's still 17. You got to try to remember what got you to this point, and Cooper Lewis missing was part of that, so you have to weather that storm. But continue to execute and don't let that throw you off of what's been working.
Bolsteller underneath is fouled as bodies hit the deck. In behind the play, foul called on Bromley, his 2nd. And that will be the 15th foul on Lehi. And we'll put Jackson Mosteller at the free throw line. 13 points now for Cooper Lewis, 9 of them in the second half, as Mosteller splashes the first. Tyler, returning to your point just a minute ago, talking about weathering the storm. I mean, this is what we talked about coming in with Coach Gardner. There's not one way to shut down Lehi, as Mosteller goes 2 for 2. And now this is the point, even though it's a 19-point game, like you said, Tyler, this is the point where we're going to learn a lot about what Skyridge has in the tank.
You see him start to throw double teams at Cooper as he comes off those screens.
And a great chase down to the offensive rebound. Bromley all by himself and scores. And that's one thing you're going to count on with Lehi. They're not going to go away quietly, and it's plays like that that tell you why.
We talked about some of those hustle plays in the first half when they were down by 20 that were keeping them in it, and you see there as they slowly start to chip away, it's those hustle plays again that come back.
Dribble out of bounds. Where's that going to go? Back it goes to Lehi. And a chance to cut it down below 17 here with under 2 minutes left. Fiennes checks out. Housley and Gentry come back in. .152 and counting. Bromley coming up from down deep. Here's Brousseau. Brousseau backs down. Kohler goes over right shoulder. Can't get that one to fall. Fight for the offensive rebound, and Hawkins has it. Or rather, Cowan has it. Goes up strong and scores. A 16-5 Lehi run, and this is the closest they have been here in this second half. Gentry trying to put an end to it. Can't do it. Brousseau clears. Here comes Hawkins. Brousseau charging downhill. Crossover. Attacks. Goes strong. And scores. A 13-point game. 1 minute left in the third. Nice backdoor cut. And Gagan puts an end to the run for now. Lewis fouled as he's trying to split the double team. Gagan his first. As Cy Hansen checks back into the chorus of boos here at Skyridge.
And if you're Quincy Lewis and Lehi, this is what you needed. You came out to start the third quarter a little bit slow. Skyridge was still executing, and it seemed like they were going to take complete control, but you fight yourself back into it and you give yourself a chance. In a big stretch these last 30 seconds, as Skyridge will get free throws at the other end.
Cy Hansen called for the foul. That's now his third. .9 seconds left. The closest that Skyridge has been, or rather Lehi has been 13. It was 55-42. Hard to believe it was 50-24 not some minutes ago. As Gagan misses the first free throw. The Rewind Sports Network's coverage of high school basketball will continue next week as it's a reunion of old foes. Quincy Lewis hosts his old school Lone Peak. The doubleheader begins next Tuesday at 6 p.m. only on the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com. What an atmosphere that is going to be at Lehi High School. And especially when Quincy Lewis returns to Lone Peak, that is going to be some night. Final 10 seconds. Lewis, step back, three-pointer, got it! 13 points the deficit again, and that's the end of three. Cooper Lewis, 12 points, all from beyond the arc. And the Lehi Pioneers are not done yet on this special night here at the foot of the mountains. These are special nights indeed on the Rewind Sports Network. Alexander Tulip and Tyler Gibb ready for the fourth quarter. Skyridge outscored in that third quarter, Tyler, 23-14. And most of it was done because of Cooper Lewis. He almost outscored the Skyridge team in that quarter.
And those are tough shots. It's shots that if you're Skyridge, you almost have to live with. You can try to just get the ball out of his hands, but if he's going to shoot, those are shots that are as tough as they can be. One thing that's been huge for Lehi is the way they closed out every quarter. At the end of the first, they got a turnover layup with a couple seconds left. Same thing at the end of the second, and then a three there at the end of the third. Those big plays have mounted up for Lehi. 7 points just in the final 10 seconds of each quarter.
Larson, back to Housley, flyby, back to Larson. Great closing out there by Lehi at this 1-3-1. Back to Gagan. 15 on the shot clock on a turnover. Cooper Lewis sees double, kicks it over to Brousseau. Brousseau goes to work on Kohler, goes over the left shoulder and gets fouled. As Kohler got caught reaching over and caught a piece on the follow through, it'll get Brousseau at the line for 2 shots. Ryder Gentry set to check back in here for the Falcons. As Brousseau makes the first.
You have to imagine a big story in the fourth quarter will be the free throw line, and which team will step up and make their free throws. Could turn into a Skyridge free throw game at the end where they have to get fouled. and see what they can do there. But a good job by Brousseau to start it out strong for Lehi and knock down his 2 free throws.
This is the closest that Lehi has been in the second half as Jace John commits his first foul on Housley, being a little over-aggressive. Approaching the 7-minute mark here in regulation. 11 points the deficit. It was once a 50-24 Skyridge lead. Gentry for 3. The hot shooting continues. What a big shot. Lewis trying to answer back. Off the right rim. Rebound chased down by Larson. How about Ryder Gentry, the sophomore, stepping up and making a big shot off the bench.
And Lehi started the quarter in a 1-3-1 zone, but just as Skyridge started the second quarter by knocking down a handful of threes, they knocked down the 3 to begin the fourth quarter, and Coach Lewis immediately goes back to man.
Quincy Lewis. Quincy Lewis did say to me before the game, Tyler, it's going to be very key to determine what kind of defense Skyridge is in. And on the offensive end, but on the defensive end right now, the converse is happening. They're trying to figure out what Skyridge is trying to run.
It's a little hard to tell what works and what doesn't when Skyridge shoots as well as they did in the first half, so it takes a little bit of figuring out.
Great rip right there by Tate Larson. Or rather, that was Mosteller, I think, who came over on the help and forced the turnover. Carson Mosteller hands now to Tate Larson, 16 on the shot clock. Carson turns, lost it on the dribble, bodies on the deck. And did Skyridge get a timeout, or is it a held ball? Held ball is the call. And the possession arrow favors the team in lavender.
It's games like these two that 2 years ago and before that would have been nearly impossible to come back from without a shot clock, but because there's a shot clock,
I was waiting for you to say that.
Now it forces Skyridge to get into a half-court offense and still execute rather than try to milk as much time as they can.
Definitely do not want to get into a shootout with Lehi. Brousseau to the basket and a blocking foul called. As Tate Larson, one of the smaller people on the floor, try to take the charge. And Brousseau will go to the line to shoot 2 more. The closest Lehi has been in this second half has been 11 points. And we are approaching the witching hour here in Lehi. As Brousseau makes the first. Rewind Sports Network's coverage of high school basketball continues next week. Tune in as we have coverage of Copper Hills taking on Riverton. Coverage starts from Riverton High School starting at 7 p.m. only on your home for Copper Hills basketball, presented by Ken Garff Automotive Dealers, the Rewind Sports Network. As Easton Hawkins can't get that one to fall, but Cowan is able to deflect it up and in. And this equals the closest Lehi has been here in the second half.
It was 2 offensive rebounds, 1 off the free throw and then the tip in that allowed that for Lehi.
Brousseau draped on Mosteller. Pass deflected out of bounds. It'll stay here. Approaching crunch time here at Skyridge High School. 5 minutes and 14 seconds left in regulation time. 11 points the deficit. Mosteller almost got that one through. It was deflected out of bounds. 8 left on the shot clock. Tate Larson has not missed a three-pointer in this game. He has 17 points. Shot clock down to 3, to 2. Housley puts it up, air ball, and that's a shot clock violation. Good defense there from Lehi. And a chance now to cut this deficit to single digits. Lewis, backdoor cut. Timeout, Quincy Lewis. We will as well. Crunch time in Lehi. It's got a whole lot tighter here at Skyridge. Alexander Timlip alongside Tyler Gibb for Skyridge basketball presented by Heidemann and Associates. Tyler Gibb, we wonder where Cooper Lewis was. He was waiting till the second half. He's got 18 second half points.
Yeah, and they were all coming from behind the three-point line, but now you see on that last possession before the timeout, because they're worried about the three, the easy backdoor cut, and he gets the wide open layup. So you see now Skyridge, they've been able to go for so long without letting Cooper Lewis get into a rhythm, but now you start to question your defense and what you should be doing. But really, you just got to stick with what you were doing and hope that you can force the ball out of Cooper's hands. But he gets so high on his jump shot, it's just hard to guard when he gets elevated and you can't block it.
I should correct myself. It's 16 in the second half. Mo Steller on the offensive glass after Tate Larson missed his first three of the night, and the lead back to 11. What a critical basket there for Skyridge to end the run. Lewis, drop shot, can't get it to go, and the rebound as we're going to have a foul on Dane Housley. Cooper Lewis single-handedly trying to get this team back into it. He scored 47 last Friday against American Fork at home, 37 on the road to lead the charge against Westlake. Pull up from the corner. That doesn't go. Foul offensive. Called against Bryson Bromley. That's his third. By the way, was the fourth foul on Dane Housley. Mo Steller for three. Bingo! Russo inside to Cowan. Good answer there from Lehi. Jackson Mo Steller doing the dirty work to put his team back up double digits with 3.5 minutes left. And a foul. And if that's on Bromley, that's number 4.
And those two plays, when you look back at this fourth quarter, Mo Steller with the offensive rebound, put back layup, and then the three, just when Lehi had cut it to single digits, that builds the lead back up. That was huge to swing a little bit of momentum back to Skyridge. Still a lot of basketball left, but those two plays stalled the comeback in a big way.
Here's Kohler. He's been quiet. Back to Housley. 15 on the shot clock. Larson guarded out front against Lewis. Poked out of bounds. It'll stay here. Shot clock reads 10. Game clock reads 3:09 here in the gym. Here is Housley. Housley, pull up from 13. Off the mark. Tipped out of bounds. Back it goes to Lehi. Still a lot of time left. Still 3 and change. Poked and stolen. Great play by Mo Steller. His third big play in a row. And Housley will slowly come across the timeline with it. Jackson Mo Steller making every big play for Skyridge right now down the stretch of this game. Shot clock at 15. Now down to 10. Larson defended by Lewis. Back it goes to Kohler. Kohler almost lost it on the dribble handoff. Back it goes. Larson, turnaround, tough shot. Banks won't go, and the rebound catcher by Bromley. Lewis, step back for 2, got it. They said it was a 2, his foot was inside the line. And it's back to a 10-point game. And Jeff Gardner will call a timeout. So it's a 10-point game, under 2 minutes to go. We'll see if it's a 30 or it's a full. On the way everyone's going about their business, I would say it's a full timeout. But Alexander Tumulip and Tyler Gibb taking you through the last 2 minutes of this one. Tyler, even if Lehi doesn't complete this comeback, what has impressed you the most about this Lehi squad? Because you said they needed to come out with some energy in the second half, and boy, have they.
Yeah, after giving up 44 points in the first half, they've only allowed 22 in the second half. So their defense, they really found that again in the second half, something that they've been able to rely on all year, but left them a little bit in this first half. So you're able to look back and say, hey, you know, when we play with energy, we can defend as good as anybody, and you have to play with that desperation. When you're the #1 ranked team, you know, in 6A in the RPI, and you're playing a team that's 6 and 9, sometimes you can think that, you know, maybe we don't have to come out with that same desperation and energy. But you learn that, you know, especially in 6A, when you're going up against anybody, you've got to bring your A game every night. And you can get back into a game quick. You see that from Lehi as they're able to fight their way back in, but sometimes it, you know, if you have a first half with how well Skyridge played and the inability of Lehi to make some shots, sometimes you get down in a little bit too big of a deficit.
Well, we'll see what Lehi has left in the tank. Still 1:53 left to go. And a long way to go if you think about it. As Housley gets it over to Larson, finds the man inside Kohler. Great set call out of the timeout as they're able to break the trap. Lewis, floater in the lane, can't get the roll. Kohler collects and clears the rebound. Housley has it, got it stolen away though. Lewis for three. Once again, it is a single-digit game. Cooper Lewis still making shots here late. Larson for the three. Dagger! And how about that shot by Hawkins? And Hawkins having a bit of a word with the official. It's a 10-point game with under a minute to go. And Tyler Gibb, it's that man again, Tate Larson, his 7th three-pointer of the game.
And that was a huge one because in a game like this, having an extra 25 seconds run off the clock is huge. So when you take a three like that with 25 seconds left on the shot clock, you got to be confident it's going to go in, and that's what Tate Larson has been all night. And you could see the emotion. Coach Gardner, when he hit that, went down the entire bench and gave his players high fives. You just see how big of a moment and a shot that was as Lehi's kept chipping away. Skyridge has been able to answer with a few big threes.
Well, Tyler, we asked the question before the second half started, was the hot shooting still sustainable? You said without defense it won't be. Guess what? Skyridge, as you said, has done more than their fair share defensively to get this double-digit lead. .9 seconds to go. Housley, or rather Larson has it in, back to Housley. Trying to get his players to trap Quincy Lewis. Gagan, back to Kohler, inside, puts it up and in, and that should do it. Lewis puts up the tough shot, air ball. Cowan stepped on the line. And they can taste it here at Skyridge. Foul on the inbound. A 50-24 Skyridge advantage got cut down to 9. And the chant from the students, You can tell they taste it. It is clear. Skyridge is now 35.8 seconds away from owning West 3rd Street. Foul is called on Grayson Bromley, his 5th. He is fouled out.
And with this Skyridge team, with how many close losses they've had throughout the year, a win like this goes a long way when it's a big game. You know, both teams are excited in the lead up. And so to get a win like this, and as Coach Gardner said before the game, you know, the rankings and everything really come out with the last few weeks of the season. And so to get a big win like this and to see, you know, what this team is capable of goes a long way in saying, hey, you know, we may have 9 losses, but we're a great team and we can compete with anybody.
Housley 2 for 2. Pass deflected. Out of bounds it goes. 29.4 showing on the clock. Lewis for 3. Yes. And a timeout by Quincy Lewis. 24.3 remains on the clock. And Tyler, as this is a full timeout, but we will keep it here. Tyler, I mean, you really have to figure. We talked about how Skyridge's record doesn't really show how competitive they actually are. And you said it earlier, Region 3 is probably the best region in the state. And this probably shows you why. Skyridge is going to be a tough team to beat if they can get rolling.
Yeah, they just had a battle with Lone Peak where they lost by 2, but that could have been anybody's game down the stretch. And there's turning points in everybody's season. Some are for the better, some are for the worse. If you're Skyridge, it's like you could just sense that there was going to be that moment where they really found their true identity and found out that they're a team that can be among the best, and it feels like, you know, this week they're really finding that in themselves.
And to do it, Tyler, against this Lehi team that for the longest time has run 5A, this is a huge, huge win for Jeff Gardner. I mean, one could look at it, this could be his signature win of the season. As with 24.3 seconds to go, they will try to run everybody off the line. Colton Fountain has come into the game as the shot clock has been disabled. Tate Larson will inbound. And a foul committed with 20.9 seconds left.
It was off of a made field goal, so they can run the baseline and pass it to somebody on the other side of the baseline, which is why Skyridge was able to do that.
20.6 seconds to go. Tate Larson will be at the line to shoot the bonus. And he hits the first. Second shot, it's good. Davis Fiennes comes in. Defense for offense. As Larson comes out, what a game Tate Larson had. 19 points at 7 three-pointers. Lewis for 3, no. And a hard foul as Brusso hit the floor hard. Gets up, he's okay. And he'll go to the line with 13.1 left to go as Gagan and Kohler will come back in. That's the first foul called on one of the new guys coming into the game here for the Skyridge Falcons as Brusso steps up to the line and hits the first. James Ducker seeing his first dash of the night. Second shot, it's good, 77-66, 13.1. Gagan, Ducker, Kohler, that's it.
And that's an game, folks. And what everybody's worth. Tight game, exciting action with the final score. Skyridge Falcons 77, Lehi Pioneers 66.
What a special night here in Lehi. The Falcons knock off the #1 team in the state, the Lehi Pioneers. We'll be back to wrap it up on the Rewind Sports Network. A special night indeed here in Lehi. Alexander Timilip and Tyler Gibb wrapping up a Skyridge 77-66 upset of Lehi here tonight in the first ever meeting between these two teams. Tyler, that was an extraordinary performance by the Skyridge Falcons.
Yeah, from the very beginning, and it was led by Tate Larson's shooting. He knocked down 2 quick threes. I think he had 7 on the night, but that just got things going. And when you play a first half like you did, it gives you a lot of leeway in the second half. And although they weren't perfect in the second half, the execution that they played with in the first half on defense and offense allowed them to play a little, you just need to play smart enough and execute enough in the second half to not let Lehi get all the way back into it, and they hit the shots when they needed to.
And certainly there's 2 players we could pick for player of the game. Tyler, I don't know about you, but let's do co-players of the game tonight. Jackson Mostetler, who lifted the Skyridge Falcons down the stretch, and Tate Larson with 19 points and 7 3-pointers, who did the dirty work for the Skyridge Falcons tonight. Those 2 are our Heidemann and Associates co-players of the game.
Yeah, we just talked about Larson and his ability to settle the team down with his shooting, and that's what he does. He's a great shooter. But then Mostetler on the other end, it was him late. He hit a big putback offensive rebound and then a 3 that extended the lead to 14 after it had been trimmed to single digits. And then a couple possessions later, he had a steal that you could really sense that the game wasn't all the way over, but you could sense that those plays kind of put a little bit of an end to this one. So Mostetler and Larson teamed up, and they made the plays when they needed to.
Tyler, it's nights like these that make me love my job. What an emotional night, what a fun night. And I'm glad I got to have you by my side for this one. This was a battle all the way from minute 1 to minute 32. What a great game.
Yeah, it really was. Environment was great. And these 2 teams, this isn't going to be at all, of the last of Lehi. This is just one bump in the road that they can learn from, and they'll have a great season ahead of them, as we've seen what they're capable of in Skyridge. We see their potential tonight.
Final score once again, Skyridge upsets #1 ranked Lehi 77-66. What a fun night it's been here at the foot of the Wasatch Mountain Range. For Austin Bigelow, for Tyler Gibb, for Vince Francis, and the rest of our crew, I'm Alexander Timilip. Thank you for joining us for this presentation of Skyridge basketball presented by Heidemann and Associates on KSLSports.com. Until we meet again, take care of one another, everyone. Have a good night and stay safe.